Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Josh Burnham, former pro and now a trainer, of course. I last spoke to you. I was surprised by how long ago it was. It was a couple of years now when we did the
Yeah.
previous Seconds Out interview, and then you were working alongside Don Charles and just starting to build up your own stable. But I believe now you've got your own gym.
Yeah, that's right. I've just opened a gym. Well, I say just over a year ago, I opened a gym where I live in Bushy. It's kind of near Watford. And done my own thing from there, mate.
And how's all that going? Have you got amateurs and pros? Is it just pros as it works out so far?
So we've got I think 8 or 9 pros in at the minute. We got a few amateurs coming through, but we're not registered as an amateur club yet. They're more just amateurs training through other clubs, but doing like their training kind of where we are at the moment. But yeah, we're getting there slowly.
What was kind of the turning point when you decided you kind of done your apprenticeship as a trainer, you'd learned the things you need to learn, you're ready to break out on your own and get your own premises?
I kind of just think it's just like the natural progression really as a trainer. Do you know what I mean? I loved working with Don and in his gym with everyone down there. Don's obviously now opened a new place himself. So there's a few things that went on down there, and I just kind of felt like it was the right time for me. I was getting a bit busier. Obviously, I've got a young family, so I wanted to be a bit closer to home as well. I mean, I think eventually, if you want to get recognised as a kind of high level coach, you kind of need to have your own place at some point. Eventually,
it sounds like a busy gym if you've got 9 pros, amateurs coming through as well. Who have you got helping you out?
We've got a couple of guys in the gym. We've got a few licensed trainers in the gym. We've got one guy, Dal Sports. He's been with me since the beginning. He kind of helps me in the corners. He's my second. He's been there since I started coaching. And we've got another guy, Aaron, who has just done his full trainer's license. He's looking to eventually get his own stable of boxers. But yeah, we all kind of just work together. Do you know what I mean? We've got 2 strength and conditioning coaches that work for us in the gym. So they kind of work with all the pros. We've got Neon and Mitch who are working in the gym with some of our fighters. And yeah, it's buzzing, mate. To be honest, we've got good vibe in the gym at the minute. Obviously, it's a funny time for boxing, mate. It's a real funny time. Do you know what I mean? You got some fighters in the small hall shows who are either looking to take a leap and just take a bit of a gamble if they want to fight, and some others on the small shows are happy just sitting tight and learning their trade a bit. And then we've got others who are already up there. Do you know what I mean? So we've got a good mix of fighters in the gym.
What was it like during the whole lockdown period? Did you have to close for a spell? And since you've been back, has it got back to normal yet, or is it still pretty slow?
Yeah, mate, it was a bit mad, to be honest. During the lockdown period, obviously we had to shut, and my wife's dad runs cemeteries, so I actually worked as a gravedigger for 10 weeks.
Yeah. That's a bit of a change.
Yeah, mate. To be honest, it was absolutely madness. Obviously, I was keeping in touch with the fighters. I was making sure they were running, staying fit, and then the second they allowed athletes to start training again, we reopened and had everyone straight down. So to be honest, now we're probably busier than ever.
Tell us about some of the pros you've got training there at the moment, who we should be looking out for.
So next up, I've got Tom Little fighting at the end of November. He's fighting Alen Babic on the Dillian Whyte undercard. I've got Jez Smith in the gym. He had a fight recently against Aguiarco on the BT show.
Yeah.
So he's just staying ready, mate. To be honest, he just wants to fight. He's one of those blokes who will genuinely fight absolutely anybody.
Yeah.
And he's kind of always ready to go, sort of thing. He took that fight at 2 weeks' notice, a couple weight categories above.
I was going to say, he's not a middleweight, is he? He's more of a welter.
Nah, he's not at all. And we took that fight because there was nothing else out there. But I've got cruiserweight Nick Parker in the gym. He's been a bit inactive recently, but he's back, ready to go. He's just kind of waiting for his shot now. Got another cruiserweight in Nice who's in the gym. He's actually helping us out with Tom's camp. And then we've got another lad in the gym who's 1-0, Shocky. He's son with Steve Goodwin, so he's just kind of waiting, like ticking over now for the time being. Yeah, we've got another welterweight who I've got, Amancio. He's 2-0. He's one to watch out for. He's just recently signed a management deal with MTK.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're hopefully going to get him out before the end of the year. I've got another welterweight, an Albanian lad called Giulio Vanozzi. He's currently actually in Albania. We're just waiting for his visa to come through so he can come back. He should be here in December. He's 16-3, but he's a very talented lad. He's a very talented fighter. What other boys we've got in the gym at the moment? I'm losing my mind. Yeah, so I think that's it at the minute. And we've got Julio, Nick, Jez, Amancio, Tom, Shockey. I think at the moment in the gym, that's it, mate. To be honest, yeah.
I think that's that sounds like you've got your hands
full. Listen, we've got enough. As I said, we've got a good little mix. Do you know what I mean? We've got a few welterweights who can all kind of help each other out. We've got a few light heavies, cruiser, heavy. Yeah, it's doing all right.
Tom Little against Babic, that sounds like a huge opportunity for you to be the head trainer on a big stage, a pay-per-view event. Does that sort of thing excite you, or is it just, focused on the fight and nothing else?
I'm just focusing on the fight, mate, to be honest. I mean, this is a great opportunity for Tom. Obviously, I trained him for his last fight. I trained him for the Saudi fight.
Yeah.
And obviously that was quite a big event. I don't really know. Obviously, to be honest with you, I feel more nervous as a coach than I ever did as a fighter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just like across the board, I could have someone fighting on a day being a 4-rounder at the York Hall, or someone in a 10-rounder at the O2, and it feels the same to me. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's exciting, man. It's exciting. But I tell you what, Tom's looking dangerous. I think it might steal the show, maybe.
What's the focus with someone like Tom? Because he's obviously got some skills, got power. He's been around a long time. Can you change much at this stage, or is it just working on his strengths and limiting the weaknesses? Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, like Tom is a great all-round fighter. Do you know what I mean? He's not had that many knockouts on his record, but don't get me wrong, he's a big lad and he can absolutely whack. I mean, it frightens me to death when I put the body pad on. Do you know what I mean? As soon as I know I'm going to get a couple of digs from him, it really scares me. But yeah, with someone like Tom, we just take fight by fight. He's not really in that phase of his career where he's fighting journeyman. He's in a phase where every training session is tailored towards one opponent. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's teaching him any new things. It's just working his skill set around our opponent. Do you know what I mean? So we're just working each day towards Babic.
And with Babic in the opposite corner, we've all seen him. He's very exciting, but we've only seen him over the first few rounds. And I don't want you to give away the game plan too much, but it seems logical that for Tom to do well in the fight, it's to take him beyond those first few rounds and then impose his will on Babic.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give too much away, but it will be a great fight for everyone to watch. I mean, Tom, as everyone knows, he's as tough as they come, and he'll take any fight if the money's right, sort of thing, and he can talk his way into fights. But this is genuinely a fight that Tom can and will win, and it's almost gonna reignite his career completely. So his mindset and his focus is nothing like I've seen with him before. I started training him quite a while ago, to be honest. We started training for the Lucas Brown fight.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, when we trained for the Lucas Brown fight, I saw it then. I saw what I'm seeing now then. Do you know what I mean? You saw that fight. Lucas Brown, he had a questionable win over Kamil Sokolowski just before that, where he'd been dropped a couple of times.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, and then... we looked at him like, we can go out and do this. We can go out and beat this fella. And then obviously we went out, we fought Majidov. And look, that was the last man to pretty much beat him as an amateur. To pretty much beat AJ as an amateur. So you've always got that going, you've always got that in your head going into a fight. But I think, I've seen Tom's mindset change completely for this fight. He's in every day. He's not skipping sessions. He's not coming with excuses. He's there to win. Do you know what I mean?
What is it you guys see in Babic then? Because like you said, when he was training for Lucas Brown, you look at his previous performances and there's plenty of chinks in the armour that are quite visible. Whereas with Babic, those chinks might be there, but they've been masked by the fact that he's getting people out there quite early on. So what have you or Tom or both of you looked at and thought, yeah, I'm really up for it. This is a beatable guy.
As I said, without giving too much away, I mean, you only have to take one look at Babic and say, A, the man's not heavyweight, and B, the man doesn't really have a plan B. So I don't know. There's not really too much to it. Do you know what I mean? Tom just has to go and do everything we've been working on in the gym, which I believe he can, be in the absolute shape of his life, which I believe he is. And the rest will write itself. Do you know what I mean? You'll have to see on November 21st, mate.
You're still a very young man as a trainer. What are the kind of longer term goals?
Yeah, I am still quite young. Obviously, within the last year, we've developed quite a lot at Jab Boxing at the gym. We've got trainers working at the gym as well as me. We've got everything kind of in house. My plan is to now keep growing, keep developing as we are. Potentially go more into boxing. Again, I don't want to say too much on that sort of side of things, but go more into boxing and just make the gym habitable for all kind of levels of fighters. Do you know what I mean? I want the gym to keep its buzz that it's got, and I'd like to obviously eventually have world champions coming in, and if at the same time have kind of novices having their debut or having their first, second fight coming in, all train alongside each other. So yeah, we've got big plans, but again, you'll have to see over the coming years.
And you've said in this interview, and you said it in the previous one as well, that you get more nervous as a trainer than you did as a fighter. But what about the satisfaction level? How does that compare as a trainer to when you were competing as a pro?
Oh, it's probably the same, if not better. As well as that, whenever I have been in the losing corner, it completely breaks me. Completely breaks me. I'm more so than I ever. Whenever I lost in the amateurs or whatever, I kind of shrug it off and move on to the next one. But it takes me like a week to get over a loss. Do you know what I mean? As a coach, but in the same breath, having that win, it's probably better than when I used to win. Putting all the work in, seeing the fighters grow, seeing them all develop, it ages me quicker. I've realised over the last couple of years that fighters are like, I think I said in our last interview, fighters are they're like children. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it fucking ages me quick, but it's all worth it, man. It's all worth it. I wouldn't change it.
And talking of things that age you quick, you've got a young family, of course. How are they getting on? And was it nice to spend more time with them during the lockdown period?
Oh, it was amazing. As I said, although I was digging graves every day, I was actually working a 9 to 5 for once. Do you know what I mean? I was home in the evenings. I was with them in the mornings before I started work. Yeah, it was great. But obviously being closer to home now, having the gym closer to home, that's also nice. Do you know what I mean? Being able to kind of come home. The kid's always in the gym. The girl's always in the gym. Whether I want them to necessarily, take after daddy is another kettle of fish, but they're always there. They love it. They love being surrounded by it. My wife helps me out massively. I couldn't run it without her either. So having them all down the road for me it's huge, mate. It's absolutely huge.
That thing about kind of following in your footsteps, I know, and it will sound a bit sexist coming from me as well, but is it different because you've got girls rather than boys? Because if it was a boy, would you just kind of think, yeah, if he wants to box, he can box, whereas you have to think a bit more about it if it's a girl?
I don't know. It's hard because I don't have a boy. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't quite explain it, but it's I don't really know, to be honest. I feel like if I had a boy, they're more likely to come up to me and say, I want to be like my dad and I want to box.
Yeah.
My girls are proper sweethearts. They're real little like girls, but they're only 4 and 2. So who knows? Do you know what I mean? Maybe they'll grow up and look, if they ever came up to me and said, I wanted to box, I don't really know. I don't know what the answer is until I'm in that position. Do you know what I mean? It's like when they first bring home, a partner out, I don't know how I'm going to feel. Do you know what I mean? But it's, as long as they're always just doing it correctly and they don't make the same mistakes that I made, then listen, I'm just here to support them. Do you know what I mean? And again, I can't compare my kids to my fighters, but it's a little bit like my boxers. If one of them comes up to me and says, "Listen, I want to do this," or "This person's asked me for sparring," or this, it's my job to make sure they have, the best career possible and they can enjoy their life as much as they can. it's no one's job to ever tell anyone no. You know, just as it is for my kids. But that's not saying I want them to box.
No, sure.
Obviously, I'm just saying, you know, I've got to support them how I can.
It's like you said, you're kind of teaching your fighters not to make the same mistakes as you. And I guess although you know you might regret some of those mistakes, they're now lessons for your fighters. That's got to be a good thing.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. We you know, I look at a lot of the things that they do and just think, or even what they might have done before they come to me, and just think, you know, what are you doing? You literally have no idea. It might be absolutely fine, but at the same time, it might not. It's such a risky game. You've only got one crack. So it's, you know, you got to make the most of it. But yeah, it is tough. It is a tough one.
Sorry. How do you, as a trainer, continue to learn and to kind of brush up your own skill set? Because you're in the gym every day, it's quite time consuming working with your fighters, but there must be some time for you to kind of learn more as well, because you're not, you know, at the veteran stage yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, so as I said, in our gym, we've got Aaron, we've got Daryl, we've got another guy, Drew, who also is a licensed coach. He does corners. He works with IQ Boxing, sure. Xavier's team, but he works in my gym as well. And we got a guy called Les Freeman. We've got Liam Shinkwin, who works in the gym. He's also a pro boxer. We've got Neon, who's one of our S&C coaches, but he's also a pro boxer. And you know, we've got everyone who kind of takes a step back and has a look in their own view. And I feel like we're always just learning off each other. Do you know what I mean? We've got a TV in our kitchen at the gym, so whenever we get a fight, it's good to sit down and watch our opponents together and just kind of discuss it. So although I'm probably a little bit of a further step forward than the other trainers in the gym in terms of my coaching career, it's good to hear their feedback on everything. You know, they always, even though they're just taking an outside of view, they're always teaching me things that I might not have thought of. Similarly, I also talk to, you know, my old coaches. I speak to Don. I speak to some of my old amateur coaches from time to time. You know, I've got good friends in boxing. I'm just learning from everyone. I think one of the biggest mistakes anyone can do in boxing is ever think they're above anyone else. Do you know what I mean? I never want to feel like I'd have to hold someone back by belittling them in any way. And there's no such thing as a bad opinion. I don't think. I don't have to convey the message to my fighter how they've said it, but I'll always absorb it and learn it from everyone. You know, even, you know, my dad as well. My dad never boxed, but he's been a massive boxing fan. I'll call him and ask him what he thinks of a fight. So I feel like I'm always learning, man. I'm like a sponge. I'm like my own kids.
And you mentioned Liam Shinkwin there. I just wanted to... Is he coming back? Are we going to see him again soon?
Yeah. Liam doesn't train with me. He actually trains with a friend of mine, Tony Pill. But okay. he just kind of works out at the gym, does his one-to-ones at the gym. But he obviously sometimes spars with the boys and that as well. Oh yeah, another fighter. Sorry, I completely forgot to mention. I forgot to mention him because he's not been in the gym for a couple of weeks. So I've got a lad called JK, just signed Frank Warren.
Okay.
I only popped into my head because he's sparred a few times with Liam as well. I only just I don't know why I forgot. I forgot to mention him before, but he Liam's been fighting just before lockdown. He had a couple of fights. He signed with Steve Goodwin. I think he's looking for a fight now. Do you know what I mean? He's not young, but he's still got plenty of fight in him.
Very talented.
Very, yeah. I mean, growing up, obviously we grew up together, boxing. We all boxed with Bushy together. It was me, him, his cousin Miles, and like pretty much all of his cousins that boxed down there. But we, his uncles actually taught me how to box. But they, he's just looking for a big fight now. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of past that journeyman stage again. Do you know what I mean? But it's just one of them for Liam. He's trained all the time, and it would be a shame to see him kind of fall by the wayside because of all of this, you know. So
stuff. All right. Well, before we let you go, we may have asked this in the previous interview, but it never harms to give people another chance. How can people follow you or the gym or both on social media?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Josh Burnham, and then the gym's name is JA Boxing without the O. So it's JABXING. Hold on 1 second, Danny. Hold on 1 second, because I've got to quickly look something up. I'm terrified that I've forgotten one of my fighters.
Well, you mean two, really, because we know you've forgotten one already. You came back.
Yeah. Have I forgotten anyone? Tom Little, Jez Smith, JK, Shockey, Amancio, Anise, Nick, Julio. Now we're all good.
Good.
You know what? That is the biggest thing. I'm so punchy. It's unbelievable. I walk into a room, walk out, walk back into a room, walk back out, and then forget what I'm even supposed to be doing.
You better hope JK gets past the first few minutes of the interview and watches the whole thing.
He bloody better, because the amount of bollocks I've watched of his, and I've watched it right to the end just to make sure I get my mention.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's why I have to write them all down. I've got all their weights and what they're doing and all the rest of it on my phone. So
I don't think it's a sign of being punchy. I think I'd forget after 5. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Do you know what it is? I'm putting it down to sleep. It's the kids. It's their fault.
Blame them. Always blame the kids. Great stuff. Well, I really appreciate it, mate, and I'm glad to see you're doing well. I look forward to catching up again soon, maybe before the fight on the 21st.
Yeah, man, definitely. All the best, mate. Thanks for getting in touch.